We understand right now we can perhaps get the first look at what's going on up in the air from Sky 4. Rob Pierce, are you with us right now?
Yes, I am. We have Buddy McKay on board the helicopter with us. Also, Linda Shelley from, she's the head of the Emergency Operations Department. We're going to look to show you some of the devastation down here at the Dadeland Trailer Park. You can talk with both Buddy McKay and Linda Shelley and ask them questions.
Mr. McKay, I saw the wide shot, the wide view just before our photographer Rob Pierce zoomed in on some of the tops of some of these buildings. What is your initial reaction? When I saw that, I gasped.
Well, we've been gasping also. This is incredible. It has just flattened this area. I had seen the other surrounding areas, and clearly there's been a lot of damage, but this can only be described as total devastation.
How do you make the determination in terms of how much assistance we will need here in South Florida to rebuild? How do you arrive at that?
Well, I've got Linda Shelley with me. She's in charge of the agency that has that responsibility. Linda, perhaps you can answer that.
The federal government and state government will be sending damage assessment teams into the area as early as Wednesday morning.
There's one on fire.
They will be assessing the needs of the communities that have been adversely affected, and assistance will be made available to them as rapidly as possible.
Mr. McKay, looking at the damage and looking at all the homes that are have roofs missing or partially have the roofs ripped off and so forth, I can't help wonder if there aren't a lot of folks, a lot of folks who are injured. Do we have any idea at this point whether or not there are more injuries than we've been able to report this far, or perhaps even fatalities?
I think clearly there are more. We can only hope that there aren't many more. We don't have any definitive knowledge. There are teams going through now trying to assess this.
I haven't been able to see the perimeter of this particular area, but is this secure? Are there National Guardsmen on the perimeter of this?
The National Guard is here in force, and the Florida Department of Law Enforcement Director has also flown in with the governor today to make sure that the areas that are adversely affected are secure.
And what about Governor Childs? Where is he?
He is also touring this area. He came out just ahead of us in a military helicopter, and I understand that he is planning to have a press conference and a major statement on what he has seen at around 4 o'clock.
President Bush, as we have made an announcement earlier, is going to be arriving sometime around 5 o'clock this afternoon at Opelika Airport. What is the governor going to tell President Bush?
Well, I think all President Bush has got to do is take a look at this. Nobody will have to tell him anything. This is absolute devastation. If they're going to declare any place in America a disaster, it would have to be this one. There are concrete telephone poles lying on the ground, and there's just nothing but little bitty fragments of what used to be mobile homes.
Yeah, we just want to remind our viewers and perhaps really reiterate to you that we want to stay with you as you make your tour, and we're going to do that if you allow us to. We'd like to stay with you. Also, Rob, can you still hear me?
Yes, Tom, I can. Unfortunately, technically, we're not going to be able to stay with you for the entire tour. What we should do is go to another area and then come back to you live. Technically, we're fighting a big battle up here to stay on the air. And so after we look at this area, we should break away, go to another area, and then come back to you live.
Okay, Rob, do us one last favor. Just give us one last look of this area. And is the devastation as far as you can see with your naked eye?
Yeah, look at it. It's as far as we can see. I mean, there's an area out here that things are looking a little better, but look at this. I mean, the roofs of the houses are gone, and this is a good mile away.
Yes, I'd have to say where you see a house with a roof that's even partly there, it's in pretty good shape.
I mean, look at this. I mean, this alone tells you the strength of the storm. It just whipped this house right apart.
What about rescue personnel? I mean, did you see emergency vehicles in there, ambulances and the like?
Not a lot right here. I'll tell you what, Tom, as I worked my way down to pick up this helicopter, there were a lot of people on the road, needlessly on the road, just to get a look at what's happening. That's slowing down emergency vehicles tremendously because they can't get around. We can't urge enough for you to stay in your homes or stay in the shelter or wherever you're at. Don't go out sightseeing at this point because emergency crews and cleanup crews have got to be able to get around.
Sky 4 is over just south of Tammany Airport at 500 feet.
Rob, Brian Allen, one quick question for you. As a guesstimate, 90% of structures in that area damaged?
I almost have to say close to 100. What about you, Mr. McKay?
I don't believe I can see a single, I don't see a single structure here that doesn't have major damage to it.
Lieutenant Governor McKay, real quickly, any plans to go down toward Monroe County like Key Largo?
I think Governor Childs has gone down there. What we're doing right now is this and Cutler Ridge Mall and also Homestead.
All right, thank you, Governor McKay. Rob Pierce, anything else, Tom?
Yeah, my last question, obviously, these folks who've lost, many of them who've lost everything they own, are going to be wondering, when am I going to be able to rebuild? How am I going to get the money in my hands to make that happen? Well, what can you tell them?
Linda Shelley is here, and she's the person that definitely knows about that. Let's ask her that question.
There will be offices set up in Dade County to respond to these needs and make low-interest loans available to people to rebuild their homes.
How soon is that going to happen?
The president has already agreed with the governor that a disaster needs to be declared. That has happened today, and relief assistance will be
both ships or just one?
in the next week.
Okay.
All right. One more question, Rob Pierce. I know we're over South Dade, but can you give me like a rough locator aerial as to where we're at?
Let me ask our pilot, Paul, where exactly are we right now? We are just south of 156th Street out west. At this point, we've been drifting, and it's sort of hard to tell our position, but we are south of 156th Street.
All right, Rob Pierce and Lieutenant Governor Buddy McKay, thank you very much.
We'll be back to our next location. We're going to work our way over to the Cutler Ridge Mall, where there's a lot of devastation over there. We'll come back to you live again.
All right, thank you very much, Rob. Tom, I don't know what to say. I mean, we knew the destruction when I've just completely blanked the name of the Dade County manager.
Joaquin Avignon.
Joaquin Avignon said and flew that he did not believe the destruction.
No.
I did not expect, I expected destruction and a lot of it, but I did not expect to see pictures that dramatic.
I didn't either. And you might have heard me mention, as soon as I saw the video come up, I just went, I can't believe that.
I had my back to the monitor in the storm center because I was looking at something and I heard that, and I did like one of these real quick ones, and I just stood there and stared in pure disbelief. Again, we knew there was going to be damage. I mean, last night Brian Norcross said that, Bob Weaver said that, I said that. Just judging by what had happened in the Kendall area, and as it worked its way, as the winds increased, but I really do not think, I did not personally, I was not prepared for a sight like that.
Are we getting any reports at all of what Hurricane Andrew did as it, in fact, slid towards the Gulf Coast? Does anybody have that information? Do we know whether or not Andrew has caused the same kind of extensive damage that we just witnessed here on the eastern side of the coast?
I'm sorry, Tom, I missed your question because somebody was...
I was actually talking to the folks upstairs.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And, but the answer, I guess, is no. I was just trying to get some idea of whether Andrew did the same kind of damage on the west coast as what we're seeing right here.
I really don't know right now. I would tend to believe not, simply because as the eye came through, it did lose some strength. The storm did lose some strengthening. As far as winds, we've been having problems all day long in the storm center getting information because of some of the winds that we had last night with the hurricane. For the folks that are with us on Y100, let's describe these pictures, Tom. Everywhere you looked, the first opening pictures we saw, there was basically nothing that resembled a home.
Absolutely.
Would you say that?
I would say that's correct. In fact, right now, I understand we have a call from West Kendall. Is it Lester?
Esther.
Esther, are you with us?
Yes.
Okay, what can you tell us?
Well, I just heard somebody came in here and told me that all the neighbors are getting together and moving the trees off the street. Everything was blocked. You couldn't get in and out of here. My brother came this morning and he had to like jump the back fence, which there was no back fence. It was gone. But it's pretty devastating. Half the roofs are gone, you know, all the shingles and tiles, and they fell on cars and they messed up cars, and it's really like, I mean, unbelievable.
How did your property make out?
Oh, mine, we're leaking. I mean, everything's leaking. We thought we were going to lose our roof, but thank God we lost all one half of the shingles, and they're all gone. And of course, all the water's coming through into the interior ceiling, and it's all leaking.
Give us an idea about some of your neighbors. You know, you've been out and you've had a chance to.
Yeah, I've been out to the neighbors, and some of the neighbors have lost their windows, and thank God we didn't lose our windows, and then their roofs withstood and mine didn't. So, they've all had extensive damage, you know, one way or another.
Esther, let me ask you this: how well did you secure your home?
Well, our home, we had a lot of windows, and we really, I mean, there was just so many windows, we didn't even think that we could even board them up. We didn't even have time to board them up, so we just put like a lot of tape on our windows, which I know that doesn't really do much, but you know, we were lucky that didn't come through. But what we did is we have a little. My room has a dressing room, and then inside the dressing, past the dressing room, there's a bathroom where we have like a sunken tub. And we had barricaded that with mattresses on top, which we followed your instructions, and that's how we did it with the kids, because it looked like the whole roof was going to cave in.
How about how folks are holding up morale-wise out there?
Well, morale-wise, some people are like really like they're like don't know how they're going to handle this. Some people are just saying, well, the hell with it, let me just go barbecue, you know. But pretty much, you know, my daughter is her 10th birthday, so she's like really depressed because she says, what is she going to do on her birthday? Things like that. But other than that, I think, you know, everybody's like pitching in and trying to see how we're going to get through this.
We are going to take a look at some of the aerial video that we just showed you live a couple of moments ago, and we're going to talk over this. Photographer Rob Pierce took these pictures just a couple of moments ago. And again, if you're one of those lucky people who didn't suffer any damage, or perhaps live up in Broward County or another area that didn't bear the brunt of the storm, count your blessings, folks, because you're looking at pictures that tell the story of what a hurricane can do in graphic detail.
Right there, we're looking at mobile homes. Look at what happens to a mobile home. That is a mobile home park right in that area. That is why we tell people these mobile homes are blown apart. That's the only way to
exactly
describe it.
What it looks like happened to.
It looks like somebody leveled them with plastic explosives. This is why you are never in a mobile home during a hurricane. I understand now we have Rob Pierce live over Cutler Ridge Mall. Rob?
Okay, we've moved a little bit now. We're over the Cutler Ridge area where the mall is and several stores. Look at this devastation.
Oh, this is incredible. I mean, it looks like there was a bomb drop.
Lieutenant Governor Buddy McKay is with us as well up in Sky 4, assessing the damage with our photographer Rob Pierce. Live pictures over the Cutler Ridge Mall.
There's a truck turned over. And this building has just been blown flat.
Look at that.
Oh, my God.
Do you know what that building was? Any idea what that building was?
It's hard to say. It looks like maybe some type of warehouse structure, large panels, not much. There's some cranes down there. See the cranes?
Yeah.
Yes.
We're right across from Toys R Us.
Exactly. Actually, this is the Toys R Us store, and you can see it's pretty hit too. I believe this is a Home Depot of all things.
How ironic, a Home Depot. Rob, your impressions, were you prepared for this much devastation when you went up?
Absolutely not. I was up through the storm all night last night in downtown Miami Beach, and I never expected this.
You know,
we're going to move around over here, and look at this.
My God, I can't believe this.
Lieutenant Governor McKay,
Yes.
Your gut feeling right now as you're flying over this area, sir?
This is just absent a war. I can't believe this kind of thing would happen. People have got to see this and realize the tremendous danger of a hurricane of this magnitude.
Lieutenant Governor Tom Randall's here. In light of the fact that you're looking and surveying this damage for firsthand right now, live on our air, wondering if you can tell us whether or not, based on what you've seen thus far, we need to do something on the governmental level, the legislative level, to make people do things to prepare for hurricanes, or to perhaps enact some kind of new laws or new or new kinds of, I'm searching for a word here, incentives is the word, to get prepared for a hurricane.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people thinking about this. A lot of it has to do with human nature. People say, well, I got through the last one. I feel sure I can get through the next one. I don't know what kind of law we can pass to make people use good judgment, but if they see these pictures, it's going to help an awful lot. We're looking down right here at another totally destroyed building, and
Surveying a bay under 4 feet of water.
Upside down.
Lieutenant Governor Buddy McKay, this is the strongest hurricane to hit since 1926, and obviously the population base in Dade County, let alone this portion of Dade County, was nothing like this. It is just phenomenal. My question is, have you, while you have been up in the air with Governor Lawton Chiles, have you two communicated yet?
No, but he's been seeing the same thing that I've been seeing, and what I hope is that people, after things calm down, people from Fort Lauderdale and other parts of Dade County and Broward will come here and take a look at this, because this is 10 times as bad as it is in the areas where the storm didn't come directly over.
What about homes in the air? We've seen a lot of businesses. Did the homes fare as well or better than some of these buildings?
Well, it looks like they did a little better. You can see they've lost a lot of their roofing materials, but it looks like structurally they're mostly intact. They look like they did a little better.
Brian Allen, how do you explain that?
It all just depends on where the wind is. You get gusts. I mean, you may have a maximum sustained wind at 125 miles per hour. Then all of a sudden you get a gust that can go to 140, 145. You get that one wind flying through there. Look at this. I mean, this is just amazing. Every picture.
Look at these trees. Look at these trees.
Boy, look at those trees. I wouldn't believe that wind alone could do that, but it is absolute devastation. It popped them off like matchsticks.
Am I seeing correctly? Are some of those trees that normally didn't belong there, that have been picked up and placed on the sides of those homes and in the backs of those homes?
I'm sure that had to be the case, because there's just too many trees to have been directly around the house. You can see, like, trees like that must have been picked up and thrown.
Yes. Lieutenant Governor McKay, what are you and the governor going to be speaking with President Bush about once he gets here this evening?
Well, I hope he'll just fly over this. I don't think we'll have to do any begging. It's quite clear that if there is any such thing as a disaster, this is it. I believe from the quickness of the response that the federal government is going to be here fully cooperative with us.
Do you think that you have an adequate personnel, National Guards people, American Red Cross workers, etc.? Do you have enough people in the hardest hit areas to do the job and to ensure public safety?
I think Linda Shelley ought to answer that. She's in charge of that.
Yes, I think we do. We have been in contact with all the affected law enforcement personnel, and they have told us the numbers that they need. The governor activated the Guard early Sunday so that we'll be ready to deploy them into the needed areas. So we feel confident that we will be able to adequately respond.
Rob Pierce, one question. Can you ask Paul, or do you roughly know the distance between this first site we picked up with you and now this area?
I'm going to have to throw it back to you for a second. We're having a small technical problem. We may lose the picture here for a minute, so if we lose the picture, stay with our audio, and we'll be back in 10 or 15 seconds with the picture.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, that question is a very important question.
It is very
Explain
important.
why.
Well, because we're just trying to get an idea here as to what kind of winds came through this area. Obviously, without a doubt, it was the strongest winds of Andrew, without a doubt. I would just like to know from my own mind as we look at this, what kind of a spacing area? Are we looking at a 1 mile difference? Are we looking at 10 miles between those 2 points.
I just, you know, again, I shake my head in awe looking at those pictures and the devastation. And you heard me ask Lieutenant Governor McKay, and I believe we have Rob Pierce again. We're going to go back live over the Cutler Ridge area.
Hey, we're back live with you now. We've solved our technical problem. Look at this down here. This house, obviously, the structure lost most of its roofing.
Rob, I was asking you, do you know, or does Paul, our pilot, know approximately the mileage distance between the first site you showed us and this site?
I'm being told it's about 3 miles, before, between the two. Actually, I'm sorry, 10 miles. 10 miles between the first site and this site.
10 miles, all right.
Well, what does that tell us, Brian Allen? I mean, the 10 miles based on the...
Let's, Bob Weaver's here right now. Bob, can you come in here on the other side and go ahead and grab a... No, we've got a hard line here for you.
Yeah, I sure do. I smell it strong.
What is that you smell?
We're breaking off right here, so we're going to throw it back to you for a second, and we'll find another site and come back to you.
Okay.
It's a very strong...
Does anybody upstairs, our producer, know what they were talking about just now? The smell, the strong smell?
Okay, thank you very much. We've got Bob Weaver with us here. Bob, you have been here. You've seen many storms through South Florida. We knew there was going to be destruction. That was without a doubt. You've been in here since we've been getting these pictures. Your reaction?
Well, I've seen another storm or two, I can't remember the names offhand, that have done almost the same type of damage, maybe not quite as bad. I remember driving around after one, and you could see the ones, especially the homes that were within the area of evacuation. You could see a lot of them just flattened, a lot of them were flooded out, a lot of them were destroyed. I don't think anybody realizes the power of a hurricane. I think somebody, they had a book out one time about hurricanes, which I read, and it said one hurricane has the equivalent power of 500,000 atomic bombs of the type dropped on Nagasaki. Now, they weren't talking about the overall power. They were talking about if you could harness the power energy, of a hurricane, that's what you would have. So they are really extremely powerful mechanisms, and the destruction you see is just what they can do almost anywhere they land with enough force, and especially in the initial thrust. See, the initial thrust is where you get the most of it. After that, it starts to deteriorate.
Okay, hang on a second here. We've got Rob Pierce now over Homestead. Rob?
Yeah, we repositioned a little bit here. We're just a little bit north of Homestead. There's a strong odor in the air.
Okay, I can tell you we've lost the signal, but the strong area, the strong odor in the air, it was apparently natural gas. I understand we have the signal back.
You got a problem back there that's intermittent. It must be a cable or something. You got to fix it because it's not me.
That is the voice of Paul, our pilot, trying to help Rob. It seems like we have a bad camera connection cable on board Sky 4. I know they're efforting as quickly as possible to correct this for us. The gentleman you just saw there in the plaid shirt, that is Lieutenant Governor Buddy McKay. Rob, are you back?
Yeah, I think we are. We're having, the wind is really kicking up out here, so it's hard
you can
to,
smell the natural gas.
Signal. As Lieutenant Governor McKay said, it's a strong odor of natural gas.
Okay, Lieutenant Governor, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, now you describe a strong odor, and you describe it as one of natural gas. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Obviously, there's something leaking around here somewhere.
And did you see any kind of crews at all on the scene, perhaps from the gas company or people like that working in the area at all? Any activity?
We don't see that. I do see some National Guard trucks and some military vehicles, but I don't see any emergency crews like gas maintenance crews.
Well, we certainly hope that the smell is only that, and that there's nothing around to ignite it, because that would be tragic indeed.
Turned upside down on top of other cars.
Look at that.
Just like little toy Hot Wheel cars.
I mean, that almost looks like a pattern, as if they've been whipped around there.
Yeah, definitely. Look at that.
If our signal breaks up at any point, please bear with us, because we're really fighting the winds up here.
That's fine, Rob. We understand that.
Here's the other two military helicopters right behind us.
Okay, I'm looking for them.
Rob, who are in those 2 military helicopters?
They're right behind us right now. I can't give you a
Coming
camera
right
shot
beside
of them
you.
because they're directly behind us.
Right beside you.
Okay, but who are they, Rob? Do we know who's in those helicopters?
Yes, I can tell you that. There's the Secretary of Transportation from the state of Florida, the Secretary of Environmental Regulation, the Secretary of Natural Resources, and we're all down here. Frankly, they're worried about their own buildings, their own equipment, their own people, and they also are trying to help assess what we're all going to have to do to help get in here and get this thing put back together.
Lieutenant Governor, based on, even though this is unprecedented for our area and a major metropolitan area, any indications at all, based on what you've seen, how long it's going to take to put this part of South Florida back together again?
Well, I don't know how long it'll take. This is going to be a massive job. As far as government's part of it, I hope that we get in there right away, and that people, when this is over with, people will feel that we were not part of any delay. But when you look at this, this is absolutely incredible.
Let me bring our helicopter pilot into this now, Paul Barr. Paul, tell us, how much area have we covered in this short tour that we've started?
We've covered approximately about a 20-mile radius from our starting point. And right now, off our right side, we have a military UH-1 that's doing a survey of the area. You can get a picture of that, Rob. There you go.
I'm going to ask Brian Allen and Bob Weaver, 20-mile radius, how does that stack up based on what you guys were telling us about the winds, especially the winds on the northwest side of the hurricane? Was that about the band you expected?
Well, actually, the eye was about 20 miles.
Okay.
And, you know, there's where your most violent portion of the storm is. So we're within, actually, for most cases, the northern section of the storm, or the northeastern area, is usually the most violent, and the southern section is probably the least. And so a lot of those areas, as the storm came in, got the most violent part of the storm, did the most destruction. Well, we can already see what it's done here. And this destruction, although it's really terrible right here, there is destruction all up and down from Broward County all the way down through a portion of the Keys, but the destruction is just immense, and it is very, very widespread. But the worst area was within that 20-mile range, I'd say, where the eye wall moved everything out of the way.
Let me jump in here and ask Lieutenant Governor McKay a question. When we started out here, did you expect to see this much devastation?
No, I really did not. I don't see how anybody could be prepared to see something like this. I don't believe there's a single tree, as far as I can see, that has emerged undamaged, and most of them are just snapped off like matchsticks.
Shelley, let me ask you, what can you tell these people that are possibly watching us now? What can they do to recover from this? What kind of aid is available?
First and foremost, there will be emergency medical aid available to people who need it, and that is our primary need right now, is to make sure that people who have been injured get medical attention that they need. Obviously, the Dade County Emergency Management and Sheriff's Office will be working with state officers and all sorts of state agency folks to clear out the areas so that there will be free access for those emergency vehicles. I'd like to follow up with something you said earlier. We see a lot of people who apparently are just out on the street to look around, and I can't stress how much importance it is to keep the areas cleared of all unnecessary vehicles so that the emergency vehicles can have access to these areas.
We are trying to line up an interview with Lieutenant Governor Tom Gallagher. I understand he's the... Okay, we don't have it yet, but we're working on that, so we perhaps can bring him into the discussion here of these pictures that we're seeing, these incredible pictures we're seeing over Homestead.
Yes, Tom Gallagher is the insurance commissioner, and I'm sure that he's going to have major concerns, and there's going to have to be a major concerted effort on the part of the insurance industry here. This has got to be one of the, I would think, one of the great losses of our time.
You know, it strikes me looking at these pictures and looking at all of the devastation that we've seen in this 20-mile area. it strikes me that perhaps it's going to take quite a while just to assess the damage. Is that right?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sure of that.
Yes, it can take up to several weeks for an accurate assessment to be made, but an assessment will not be completed prior to the time that aid is available. On the insurance issue, the preliminary estimate of the insured risk in Dade County alone was $112 billion, of which it is obvious that there has been several $1 billion worth of damage.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are at home right now, please hang up the phones if you are trying to call us. We will get to your calls later. It is imperative. We are trying right now to get Insurance Commissioner Tom Gallagher on the phone. We are being flooded with phone calls. We will get to your phone calls later. If you're trying to get to us, please, we will come back. There will be time for questions later, but right now at this point in time, it is imperative that we speak to Insurance Commissioner Tom Gallagher. If you would please cooperate with us. We will open the lines back up later on and answer all your calls. If you are trying to call us, please hang up the phone so that we may speak to Insurance Commissioner Tom Gallagher.
Brian, let me interject here for a second. As you can see, the National Guard is in place here. Let me ask Mr. McKay, how long will they be here? What is their role going to be, and how important is it?
Well, they're here to make sure that we have law and order and that any looting or any unlawful activity is at a minimum, and they're here as long as we need them. There's a plane right there.
Governor McKay, I know that we have 600 National Guardsmen in Dade County right now, another 900 on the way. Seeing all this, are we going to need more? Is this enough?
I think that's being assessed. The General of the National Guard is here, and Governor Childs and all of our law enforcement top officials are down here. We will assess that. And
I don't know, Steve, but you find out who it is, would you?
Our assurance is you'll have what you need.
No, find out who it is, man. This is Paul. Elroy's got me.
Let me ask you another question. Just want to make sure to confirm for our audience.
Miami's up on 25, I think 25-2.
What area are we looking at? Are we still over Homestead right now?
Yeah, we are still over the Homestead area.
Okay, is that good timing, or do you have somebody else? Did we work it out good, or is that we're too late?
Okay, we'll listen to the voice of our pilot right now. That's what you hear every once in a while. He's got to be on the radio so he can maintain air traffic. We do have Insurance Commissioner Tom Gallagher on the phone with us. What's your reaction to what we've been showing you and talking about for the past 15, 20 minutes?
Well, we know there's going to be a lot of claims, and we've been working very closely with the insurance industry to see to it they give the people good service.
Blew the side out.
Are you in front of a television set right now, sir?
Who are you talking to, Tom?
We're speaking to you, Mr. Gallagher.
No, I'm not.
You're not. So have you? What indication do you have of how bad things are?
Well, basically, we've worked with the Office of Civil Emergency Services in Tallahassee, who's kept us up to date on what's happening down there.
Well, perhaps Lieutenant Governor Buddy McKay can fill you in briefly on what he's seen, and we'd like to get your reaction to it. Lieutenant Governor?
Tom, there's about a 20-mile area where the eye of the hurricane came across here, where I doubt there's a single undamaged building. I don't see any trees that aren't snapped off and uprooted. The commercial buildings are particularly badly hit. Some of them have been flattened, and we're looking at one where the side, all of the glass is blown out. It looks like a war zone.
Based on what Lieutenant Governor Buddy McKay just told you, Mr. Gallagher, how quickly do you think we're going to be able to get funds into this area, to start rebuilding, and to get people back on their feet?
Well, basically what happens is the president, I believe, is about to declare a disaster area there, so he will be helping as far as the state government and local government is concerned. Each individual has to file their own insurance claim. We're working very closely with the insurance industry. This is very similar to the damages that happened in South Carolina with Hugo. And we expect, we have an 800 number that people can call, and I'll give that to you starting tomorrow morning at 8 to have us help them with their insurance problems. That's 800-528-7094. We have been in contact with the insurance companies, agent groups, adjusters, and major property claims server, who basically represents more than 50 companies, and we're in the process right now of issuing emergency licensure to hundreds of out-of-state adjusters who will be flown in. We expect maybe 1,000 to 1,500 of them will be flown into South Florida to handle the claims for the insurance companies.
Mr. Gallagher, based on what Lieutenant Governor Buddy McKay has just told you, does this in any way correlate with what you've been hearing out of Tallahassee?
Yeah, we basically have figured that it was very similar to what happened with Hugo, and that's about the same description that we got on Hugo.
Yeah. What do you tell folks, though, Mr. Gallagher? What do you say to them, since we have you as a mouthpiece, as it were, and you're live on our air right now? What do you tell people, or people who have relatives living in this area who are within earshot of us? What do you say to those folks to make them feel a little better, if you can?
Well, you know, there's nothing that makes you feel real good when you have this kind of a disaster. There's no doubt about that. We do expect that this is the opportunity for the insurance industry to shine and to pay out the claims when they've been collecting the premiums for this long, and we're going to work very closely with those people that have problems to make sure that their claims are taken care of as soon as possible.
Mr. Gallagher, when can we expect you to come down here and take a look at this?
I expect to be down there sometime tomorrow. In the meantime, we're organizing to make sure that the claims agents get down there. They're the most important, because they're the ones that are going to be right on the firing line helping people on individual claims.
Now, after Hugo, people were on site there for months. Any idea yet? You said more than 1,500 on the way down, correct?
I said it could be as many as that.
Okay, it could be as many as that.
We haven't
Thank you.
licensed that. We've only licensed, we're in the process of licensing a few hundred. We expect it to be as many as that.
Okay, I just want to clarify that. Thank you.
Look at this, guys, look at this warehouse here. You can just see the metal, the rafters just twisted like they were pixie sticks. Yeah, let me show you the Holiday Inn here if I can pick it out. You can see this hotel over here just absolutely devastated up to like the 5th or 6th floor here. Hopefully there was nobody taking refuge in those rooms when that storm hit.
Well, I'll tell you, the other thing that just grabs you when you see this, it's very difficult to believe that people could have been in there and could have not been injured. And I think that shows the importance when somebody tells you you'd better evacuate, the importance of taking it seriously.
And again, though, from my understanding, this was not in the evacuation zone, correct, Brian Allen?
Homestead? No, this was in the evacuation zone.
This part was?
Yes.
Right here?
Basically, yes. Bob?
You know,
There's a few people hanging around. You can see, obviously, they're trying to assess the damage and figure out what to do next. Doesn't look like anybody is actually in the room.
Whiskey Mike, helicopter, Sky 4 is just over and over the Holiday Inn off the turnpike.
Nobody would be in the rooms now if they had a choice.
No, I don't think so. There's no window.
I just would like to ask the Lieutenant Governor how they're going to coordinate the different things. In other words, the funds that come from the insurance companies and the funds that come from the federal government.
Well, very effective administrator, and what he's saying is that the companies are going to come in here. They know they're going to be judged by whether they're quick in getting here, adjusting the claims and writing the checks, and a lot of that is going to be done by the private sector. We'll be doing everything we can to support that, and to the extent there are any problems, he'll jump in on top of it, and so will we. We've got our own agency heads, the governor's agency heads down here, because we're worried about everything from water pollution to getting the electric power back on. And Linda Shelley, who's with me, is worried about making sure the emergency management part of this works effectively. I think thus far we feel good about what government could do. Clearly there isn't a lot government could do here, but I think the preparedness is shown up in the fact that there aren't more deaths and injuries.
Mr. Gallagher, are you still with us?
Camera traffic, Sky 4 is inbound from the southeast.
Oh, okay. We've lost the insurance commissioner, but we thank him for answering some of the questions that we had for him today. Lieutenant Governor, how long are you going to be up in the air surveying the damage?
Well, I'll be here till Rob runs out of gas, I guess.
Actually, what we'd like to do here is we'd like to break away from the zone. Obviously, this is the most of the station, but we'd like to break away at this point and work our way down towards the city, down towards Bayside, show the Lieutenant Governor what happened there, and we'll bring you a live report once we get there.
All right, thank you, Rob Pierce, Lieutenant Governor Buddy McKay. You know, it's hard to describe